Well, hello, ECAN Nation. Welcome to a new edition of Face to Face. My name's Rob Howden, joined as always by David Cole for what really is another one of our, I guess, happy hour editions, David, because the work day's done. It's 5 o'clock Eastern time, so if you want to crack a cocktail, doesn't bother me right now. Today's show, though, obviously kind of focusing on really the kind of end of the 2022 season and the start of the 2023 season. We have 4 of our winners, David, from the WKA KartWeek event, Manufacturers Cup on the sprint track at the Daytona International Speedway. These 4 drivers all getting race wins, and what a better way to start off our face-to-face season for this year with some winners from Daytona.
Yeah, welcome to 2023.
Yeah.
We are talking with the drivers who all won the last event of 2022, but it is the start of the 2023 season with always the World Karting Association KartWeek at Daytona International Speedway. So yeah, it's great to get the season kicked off. Obviously, a race going on this weekend. Our first guest, who's already at the racetrack, who's been at the racetrack, I think, every weekend for the last 2 months. So yeah, the racing action for the new season is underway.
Yeah, as we said, of course, the Manufacturers Cup getting things underway for the start of their season, which of course, rolls now into 2023. It's January the 6th. We want to welcome all of you to this broadcast, whether you're watching on our YouTube channel or potentially listening to the podcast. If you are watching the YouTube channel, make sure to take an opportunity, David, to have a look at a bunch of the onboards that we got. We got a bunch of different onboards from the road racing facility and the sprint track as well. Onboards, ECAN Onboards, presented by Odenthal Racing Products, is something that we're going to do throughout the entire 2023 season.
Yeah, excited to get 4 different videos from the event. We got a Briggs 206 and KA100 on the sprint track, and then we have a laydown Yamaha along with a laydown 250 going 160 miles an hour around the high banks. So great perspective.
I watched it, and the thing is that Brian Wilhelm in the 250 is so smooth.
Yeah.
The sense of speed, it's there, but it's not there.
It's there. If you watch the paint on the wall, it's there. But if you're watching the way the wheel is just barely moves and how smooth he is with that thing, it's just unreal. Again, that goes into what, probably 40 years of racing laydowns.
Years for Brian. Yeah, he's a shoe for sure. All right, so again, lined up for this one here, we have winners of the KA senior category, the winner in the 206 Masters, and winners in the Ignite senior class as well. Let's get things underway. Jorge Ruiz is going to be the first guy to join us. He was able to be victorious in the 206 Masters category. He's trackside right now in his car, waiting to go out for practice in 37 minutes time. Jorge, thanks for joining us here on Face to Face.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me.
Listen, you talked about before we came on here, 5 straight weeks of racing now with you running the CKNA Winter Nationals this weekend at Jacksonville, but a big win for you at Daytona. Just kind of talk a little bit about what it meant. First of all, what it meant to run at Daytona. Obviously, it's a race I haven't run yet. It's on my bucket list. What was it like for you to go down there and come away with some victories?
To me, it's almost like a little redemption type deal. Because the first time I got into karting, I got back in the 2016. I went down to Daytona. I was like, oh, we get to race Daytona. I was like, I gotta try this sprint track thing. I had only been karting for a month. All right, It was so bad. I would go on track, wheels would fall off, stuff like that, and people would help me, come around and help me. I'm like, oh my god. So I did the sprint track a couple of times. I was pretty good, and then I just said, this has to be the year. The MGM's been moving and changed manufacturers, and I just found the setup, and Jacksonville was amazing to sweep Jacksonville, and I said I think I could do well in Daytona, and winning Daytona the first day, it was kind of like a shock, people win and everything. I was kind of in a daze all day.
What did I just do?
I know, I'm in a daze, and I really stayed composed, and then day 2 came around, and I was in the hunt. It was still there in the hunt for the win. And let me tell you, when I won Sunday, literally you could hear from my helmet the screams of excitement, how happy I was.
Okay, go, Dave. You go.
Does it help or hurt because you guys are the first class on the racetrack each day? So you were the first final on day 1. You were the first final on day 2. With the day 1 win, did it just not register because you didn't feel like you were in the finals yet because you guys were the first one up?
Yeah, we're done by 1:30.
Yeah.
But 1:30 we were done. I was like, okay, cool. And then you wait around all day for podiums. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah, true.
And then they're like, hey, you won. And I'm like, and they hand you this cup and you look at it and you're like, it doesn't really hit you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I got back to the RV, and then I sat there and I looked at it, and I was like, I just won Daytona. I just lost it. I
That's
lost it.
awesome.
I just lost it.
That's
But yeah,
great.
being the first day out, and then I learned my lesson the first day. I spun out in practice because the track was wet. So I was like, you know what? The next day, I'm not even going to practice the first morning. But I want to put it in the wall.
Why bother, right?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, let's so you win the WK Gold Cup race, right? You talked about Jacksonville.
Yep.
You won that event. You moved over to the MGM chassis as well. Let's talk a little bit about that, the move to MGM, the reasoning behind it, and kind of how it fit you when you got into the kart, and then how much did the victory at Jacksonville kind of give you momentum and confidence going into Daytona?
Yeah, I was on the TB forever and a day. That's the car I started with, and I'm very loyal. I'm just a loyal person, just from my background in the military. So I love what the the organization TB did for veterans and stuff. So I just stayed with them as long as I could. And then the next kart they came out with was not 4-cycle specific. So I tried it in Charlotte to make it work, and I was dead last.
Okay.
And I'm not usually, I'm a mid-packer, top. I'm honest, like mid-pack guy. I can mix it up in the front sometimes. And I said, I need a specific 4-cycle chassis. And Paul reached out to me. And I tried a whole bunch of chassis. And Paul reached out. He's been reaching out for a couple of years now. And he's like, I need you on an MGM. Just try it.
Yeah.
He's like, just try it. I went out there, hated it.
Really?
Yeah. It pushed like a dump truck. And then he goes, so what's your scaling weight? And I was like, scale.
Here we go.
I was like, dude, I come from an Italian car. We don't scale crap. He's like, you need to scale it.
You told him 390, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't scale it. I have the weight on me already. I am the weight.
Yeah.
So there's no scaling.
Yeah.
So he goes, no, I want certain percentages. So I was like, okay, tell me what you want. So I went and found out I'm way off. All I did was move the seat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, this car is really good. I went to a Grants, and it's the first time I go to a Grants that I have shot of running up front with the big dogs. And I had the speed to run up front, just bad luck in one of the heat races put me in the back, and then a mistake on my part on gearing. I dropped my front driver, then dropped the rear, so I was way off on gearing. So I put myself back there, but it wasn't the chassis.
Yeah.
I made it to
I can relate.
Yeah, exactly. I put myself back there. I got to Jacksonville, and I've never been good at this track. And I talked to Paul, and he's like, hey, put this setup in. And he gave me a setup, and I was like, man, I got it, but it's just not working. And he's like, just mess with the kart. So I messed a couple things, and the kart was flying.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, this is good. And then the confidence off of Jax went into Homestead, because I went to SSKC.
Yep. Finale. Yep.
I went to SSKC, almost won the first day, and then just bad luck on Sunday, but the speed was there. And I went to Jacksonville, and I hate doing practice because I suck at practice. So I was at Jacksonville, and I was like, man, I'm on some really old tires, but I'm only 3/10 to 4/10 off the pace. I put the new tires on, kart came alive, and then it's just a confidence building. The leader ran away in the pre-final, and I reeled him in without really pushing the issue. And then for the final, I wanted to dictate the pace. I took the lead, and I just ran the lap times I wanted to run. And the last 3 laps, I pushed, and that was it.
Nice. And then, of course, the big win at Daytona. But that's awesome. Let's give you a chance to talk a little bit about what you got. You're a content creator, which is so fantastic for the sport. You chronicle a lot of what you guys do at the racetrack. Talk a little bit about your YouTube channel, what you guys are doing to grow the sport and have fun with what you're doing.
So when I got into karting, guys, there's nothing out there, to be honest. Like, there's really nothing out there. I didn't even know what karting was. I was getting out of the military, and I wanted to do something in racing. So I was like, man, I'm gonna race a car. And I looked at the price. I'm like, I'm not gonna race a car.
It's not happening.
They're out the window. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I gotta try something else. So then I started Googling it, and I saw karting. And I was like, so I live in Savannah. So I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool. So I found 103rd Street, and I went to a school about karting. but there's no YouTube channel out there. There's nobody like us, like the local guy, like the normal dude. I do a 9-to-5 job, and I go race on the weekend. So I was like, hey, just let me start talking to a camera and just, the fun, the blast I have in karting, and see if I can get more people in the sport. And I just make I just make videos about my racing experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, and just share it with everybody. The best thing I love is when people walk up to me, shake my hand, says, because of your videos, we're at the track karting.
Nice.
We got to a kart. He's like, we bought this car, we got a kart, and they're like, I race Briggs, all right? I'm a Briggs guy. I dabble in two-stroke, but I'm a Briggs guy. Yep. And I tell them, just get whatever kart you want. Once you're hooked, you're hooked. And I just love it. And I just want to tell people, you got to try it. Just get in the kart. Just try it one time.
It's Jam Racing, right? Let everybody know.
Yep. Yeah, Jam Racing.
So look for Jam Racing, folks, on YouTube. You're here right now. You're watching us. Go look at Jam Racing. Your videos are fantastic. So listen, I know you got to get on the racetrack here pretty soon. What are we looking at for you for 2023? Where are you going to be? Where are you racing this year?
Okay, so I'm going to do all of CKNA South, and I'm going to do, as you can tell, I'm already at Jack's.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do the whole series. I'm going to be at Charlotte, and then I got a couple things lined up to go back out west.
Oh, wow, okay.
I want to spread. I was out in Texas last year trying to, get more people in the 206, just get more people in karting in general. And then I have a couple things. I think I might end up running south and north with the CKNA.
Wow.
So that's my goal.
Awesome. And you're going to run the Grand Nationals again to hashtag beat David Cole?
the Grands, I'm going to call it now.
That's it.
For the Grand Nationals, my only goal is to beat David Cole.
Beat David Cole.
And to be honest, he'll beat himself.
That's true. That's true.
It's very true because the videos on your YouTube channel will show that I beat myself every time. Anytime you were behind me, it was all my fault.
Oh, man.
He tries to take shortcuts. They're not there.
Hey, Jorge, congratulations on your success at Daytona, man. When I saw it come up there, I was watching on live timing. I was so excited for you. Congratulations. Well done. And good luck this weekend at the World Nationals.
Thanks. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Awesome. Let him get back to the racetrack, folks. Jorge Ruiz running at 103rd Street Sports Complex this weekend. The CKNA Winter Nationals, David, on the docket here for the weekend. We're watching that, of course, on Race Monitor. Some good numbers down there, too. And, again, always great to see what CKNA is doing.
Yeah, almost 20 drivers in the Masters category. He said senior medium is going to be massive with a lot of talent. I assume senior light as well, too, because they'll double dip. And again, a solid event to open up Briggs Racing for 2023. And yeah, excited to watch that on my phone throughout the weekend and see where everybody ends up.
So we'll go from 206 Masters at the Daytona KartWeek for WKA to Margay Ignite. It's one of their majors, like Ignite majors on the season. Of course, Daytona International Speedway, one of the most famous racetracks in the world. Ignite was running on both the road course and the sprint track, though we have the two winners from the senior category at the sprint track. We have Matthew Frost and Evan Stamer joining us. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. A couple of winners again from Daytona. Matthew, let's start with you.
Thanks for having me. First off, I'd like to thank Tim Hannon and the OVRP team for making it all possible. Without them, we wouldn't have been there. And it was a long year of driving hard and driving different stuff hard. Really, I got to thank Tim Hannon for allowing me to be able to get so much time in a seat this year, and also Thomas Radavoy and all the Radavoy family for helping me actually get into racing and actually put one foot down and get into a go-kart. So, and Margay as well for creating such an awesome package for us to be able to go out there and race on.
So let's start with this, because we've got you as now a one-time winner of Ignite. Then you've got the big dog over here, Evan, who's on the very top of the all-time win list, right? This guy gets it done in majors racing. So, Matthew, we know a lot about Evan, right? We've been watching him race for a number of years. Let's just dive into you a little bit. Let's get a chance to put you in the spotlight. How did you start racing? When did you start racing?
So I got racing when I was about, I'd say 22 years old. I think I got a little bit of late jump, but a good jumper, is better late than never, right?
Exactly that.
So we started racing in the indoor go-karts, and one thing led to another, and that got really tiring of going to the same spot. And we got over to Oakland Valley, and man, oh man, professional racing drivers there, man.
Right.
So, one thing led to another, and I was mowing grass over at Oakland Valley so we could just turn some laps. And next thing you know, we're traveling and we're hitting racetracks, and we're racing all sorts of stuff, really. So racing journey's been really it's sudden, really, because it's only been in these last couple of years. Learning countless hours in the classroom, going to the car clinics with SCDA and a couple of other ways to keep my my driving up there. And we done a lot of driving with the slingshots with dirt racing and stuff like that.
Really? All right.
So and we're working on doing a school over there at Oakland Valley so that we can get more people into dirt racing. So we're working on that too there.
So you've been to the Daytona Dash at Daytona before, right? I think you've been down there, have some experience there. What was different this year when you rolled in? What did you flick a switch or something? Were you just more comfortable when you rolled in this year?
We definitely have had the most seat time out of all this year. So I think I was just really comfortable. We had to get the go-kart ready for Daytona in general when we got there. So we had took the steering shaft out and replaced the steering shaft and a couple of other things just to get the front end kind of tightened back up there. And then, we went out for practice, and I knew in practice that we had a good go-kart. And then second practice, we just pushed hard and just tried to, make something happen there.
Well, Tim was fast too, because he did both Master and Senior. He won day 2 in Master, but was fast in Senior as well too. Was it helpful to have him to be able to bounce setup ideas and just driving the racetrack itself?
Yeah, going out behind Tim, it probably helped me the most because I was able to kind of see where I was supposed to be placing the go-kart while, still pushing hard. And he's one of the, guys who runs up front. So, it was kind of easy to kind of, get after it with him there. So, it was a big help. He helped me a lot with the setup. We like to just keep it neutral. That way we can kind of tune it with the, with the driving a little bit. So if it's got to push, just turning a little bit early, using your body. And the setup was definitely, hats off to Tim really for helping me get that dialed in there for the first day.
That's awesome. All right.
Well, I got to assume that dirt racing helps with the Ignite because there's not a lot of grip with the Ignite tires, right?
Yeah. So the slingshots, they are a handful to drive, man. I tell you what, no, you can put some of the most experienced drivers in there. And Oliver Hodgson actually drove one of our slingshots, and man, he's a good driver. And he was trying to get after it first couple laps, and he was going in circles. So
now, hold on, let's give somebody. So the slingshot, that's like the mini dirt modified, right? The Tobias mini dirt modified.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Those things are badass. I would love to try to drive that, but I would bet be able to slide that thing around.
Yeah, and they're a very you got to have some fuzzies, man. You got to drive in really, really hard. So just to get the thing to work. So they're fun to drive.
That's amazing. I love it. All right, let's go over to Evan Stamer. Evan, you've obviously won a few races. What we got down here? 4th Daytona victory. You won in 21 and twice in 2018. What is it? Was it 13 majors victories now?
11.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty amazing. We're going to come back to this later because you've been kind of getting away from the Ignite karting because you've been doing a lot of car racing. You ran, of course, USF 2000 for a year. You've been running with Ruckus Racing, doing some sports car racing as well. But you come back to the roots, right? Come back home to the Ignite kart. What was it like rolling into Daytona this year?
It was. I was worried for a little bit there. I was really rusty and kind of couldn't keep it on track. The Taylor brothers behind me, and they were like, "Man, can you keep it on the track a little bit? My visor's getting dusty." I was like, "Sorry, guys." But I eventually got it together. Didn't change anything on the kart. Just went down a tooth, aligned it, made sure everything was good, and it eventually got it together. And it's such great racing. It never gets old winning at Daytona too. not growing up with, but knowing the folks is Rick and Randy and being able to win on the same day as Randy got his 60th win was just amazing.
Yeah. I can feel that, because obviously Mr. Daytona, right? The Folks family and Randy getting 60 wins. You have 4. So you got a little ways to go.
I hope they have the Ignite there for about 20 more years then, right?
Right. I need a little longer than that, I think.
So Evan, what brought you back? I know that you've been doing a lot of racing with Scott Blind. You've been doing the sports car stuff, and we'll do that again likely here in 2023. What brought you back? What was it that said, hey, I got to go down between Christmas and New Year's one more time?
No, I don't think I ever really left. I think it's just I'm always going to race and Ignite no matter what. Probably will kind of slow down with the local stuff. I'll try to help as many. I like helping a lot of the kids at Gateway Motorsports Park and Gateway Kartplex more than I do racing local level now. So I'll still do a big national. I'll go to maybe Grands this year, do some more Ignite majors. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever leave. It's just as long as I can do it, I'm going to do it.
That's it. Good man.
Was it a challenge because you were just at Daytona a couple of weeks before Kart Week, but you were going 160, if not more, on the big track to go back down to going only 60 miles an hour, maybe 65. Yeah. How much of a transition is that? Because you said it took you a little while to keep it on the racetrack. Was it just getting the mindset off car racing and getting into karting?
Yeah, it's so different. So we were racing the Porsche. We were actually on the rev limiter going across the finish line. 179 is what it got up to. It was eye-opening. But yeah, and Andrew Davis, such a great coach we have coaching us up. And he's like, man, you can go deeper. You can go deeper. And kept going deeper. And those Porsches just stick anywhere you go. So but the biggest challenge was, you can't, in this Ignite carts, you have to flick it into the corners almost to be able to drive them. So, and you're not doing that at all on a race car for the most part. And so you got to use the brakes to turn a lot in go-karts. Don't do that a lot in cars. And it was a pretty big change from what I was used to for the year. So.
Speaking of guys going from cars to karts and back and forth, I want to ask both of you guys this. The Taylor brothers were there running with you guys this particular weekend, and they do a lot of four-cycle karting. We know that they drive around their front kind of driveway at their place. They like to run stuff. They ran stars of karting back in the day. Matthew, you got a chance to run with these two professional drivers. What did you think? Were they running professionally out there, or were they being a little sketchy?
No, they were definitely running professional. It was definitely felt the pressure from them both. No, 2 world-class drivers, and it shows for real.
Evan, what about you? What are your thoughts of a run with the boys?
Coolest guys. I mean, at that level, I've never met a cooler guy. I mean, they're so open and ask you questions and talk your ear off. Truly professionals, but are personable too. They just joke around with you all the time. They were going around the tent, talking to everybody they could, and That's awesome. It truly showed how professional they are.
Well, I was messaging with Jordan a little bit after he posted some stuff on there because I've known him since he was running Jicka back in the day, and he said I'm feeling pretty good. He says, but there's a lot of really good drivers here. He says they're learning a lot. Every time they rolled out, they said they were learning a bunch from you guys. I'm sure you probably all felt the same way going back and forth.
Yeah, they were. 100%. I mean, they were both really fast. Ricky and Jordan were. I mean, they right out of the gate they were hanging with us up front, and then Jordan there at the end, he had a chance to win, so it was awesome.
But it wasn't going to happen with you boys in the house. Matthew, what do you got? What do you got going for 2023? We asked Jorge the same thing. Where are we going to see you trackside this year?
2023, definitely want to be doing a full OVRP slingshot schedule. That's looking like a 2 to 3 night a week racing. At different tracks too, so it would be one night at Oakland Valley, another night at like Hamlin, and another night at a track we call Accord. And hopefully we can get into some Formula cars. That'd be nice. That'd be cool to do. Nice. Tim races Formula Ford and other open wheel cars, so maybe we can get into those. And we'll most definitely be racing a Mustang and AER with the OVRP team, and we'll also be racing an E36 M3 with Ben Thompson with TRD Racing.
Nice.
That'll be with the Champ cars, not too specific on the dates yet, but we're still getting the car put together, and hopefully that'll be something to look forward to this year.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that. That's fantastic. Evan, what about you? Ruckus Racing throughout the season again?
Ruckus Racing, I think, I think I can say we're trying to do the whole season, probably not the whole season of WRL and a Aston Martin GT4 car.
Wow, all right.
So I've seen the renderings. It looks amazing, immaculate. So that'll be really cool. I'll be running with Jaden Beckman as well. She's been killing it, and the testing in the M2 with TLM Racing. And last week in Daytona too, she was really fast, or a couple weeks ago. But yeah, maybe later in the year we have some really exciting stuff coming. Maybe we'll step a little bit higher up and try ourselves at some other things. But
Ooh, I like that. That's a teaser.
Determined. Yeah,
that's a teaser.
We'll see where it goes, but yeah, it should be amazing. I think it's going to be a great year.
Well, one of the beauties of the Ignite program is, of course, the spec nature of it. American made with the tires and the chassis and the engine, the whole deal. And it's such a great grassroots level. Cole and I spent lots of time driving Ignites as well. But for both of you guys, this is really cool. This is like Ignite to cars, right? You guys have done a lot of Ignite racing, and now you're finding yourself going into the big car racing. I think that's super cool. So it adds another level to this entire Ignite program, right?
Name another series. Ignite has brought so many good drivers. We've got Spike Colbeck and myself, Jaden, and all these other guys that are driving now professionally. And it just from the Margay roots, it's actually really amazing what they're doing.
It's really cool. And then, of course, you get a chance to actually drive with Keith Freber as well in a couple of races.
Yeah, awesome. It's been cool. It's been cool.
Well, Matthew, Evan, thank you so much for joining us, guys. We appreciate it. We'll let you guys go. Congratulations on your success in the first Ignite Major of the season. Well done. You guys are both winners now at Daytona. Matthew, your first one, number 4 for Evan.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. Yeah, thank you guys.
Awesome, guys. I appreciate you taking the time. Pretty cool deal there, dude. One win for Matthew, obviously coming down. What a lineup of stuff he's going to drive this year.
That diversity is great in motorsports. The more you can get in the seat on different things, it's certainly going to help you. No different than Evan. He's done the USF 2000. Now he's doing sports cars, so he's got a different taste of different things, and that only can help you. And Christian Miles, our next guest, he's kind of done the same thing where he'll get in anything and drive it too as well.
I will say this: I'm a little jealous because I'm a stock car guy, I'm an oval guy, and I've always saw those Tobias slingshots, and I'm like, I would love. It's essentially a downsized
modified
dirt modified, and they're just so cool.
I think Tim Hennon would easily put you in one.
I just got to drive.
You're skinny now. You can fit. You're not like you're tall, So
I think I'd be all right. I'd be all right. That's awesome. Here's a question that just got brought up real quick, David. Bring that one up from Scott Hoggard, and it says, "How do younger kids get involved in Ignite? What is Ignite?" And it seems like you guys do your own thing, which is interesting for me. So Scott, the Ignite program, go to it. It's ignitekarting.com, I believe. It's a Margay, a spec package that comes out of Margay Racing Products out of St. Louis. Essentially, everybody says it's a sealed engine package, the Briggs 206 engine, everybody in the same Hoosier tires. It's a spec chassis. Everything's totally spec. And they run at different tracks around the country. A lot of it around the St. Louis area. They run up at OVRP, up in Cuddyback-Phil. They run as well down at the track in Cincinnati, MCC at Cincinnati. There's a number of tracks around the country. Idaho, exactly that. Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of an entry level category, but it's a spec package as well too. And it's been around since 2015 when it first was introduced. And again, it's just it's kind of get off the couch and get into karting. It's a great way for that, but it's also great for people who like the idea of a spec program. Yeah, Nebraska and Iowa as well too.
Yeah. It's a fantastic program. And the cool thing about it is, again, it's a spec program. They run clubs. They run their own kind of a regional series, the Ignite Challenge, and then the Ignite Majors are all big events like the Elkhart Riverwalk Grand Prix that's going to happen in Elkhart, Indiana. They run Rock Island. It's a great program for anybody coming in. So that's something. So go to ignitekarting.com, Scott, and learn more about that program. Speaking of a guy who likes to run events like the Rock Island Grand Prix or Quincy in the Park, he runs lots of different races. Let's bring in the guy that swept the KA 100 senior category at Daytona, Christian Miles. Christian, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you waiting. We know it's been a half an hour since you kind of jumped on here with us.
Yeah, thank you guys. First off, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thanks for giving me this awesome opportunity. But the first thing I'd really like to say is thank you to Mike Doty and Brandon Jarscrack. They've put in countless hours, and BBS Racing Engines. We started with them at the end of last year, and it's been going good so far with BBS, and we've been with Mike for the past year, and it's been going really well.
It's interesting, right? Because I talk about this when I'm doing anything, even with the USF Pro Championships or with karting. Every team's a bit different, right? There's culture. The culture is kind of top down. The team owner kind of dictates how the team is. And some drivers just fit really well into certain teams. It seems to me, David and I have talked about this, where you running with Mike Doty, it's like there's just a really good synchronicity there.
Yeah, well, we're always just joking around back at the tent. We take it serious at most of the times, but we're always just having a good time, always laughing. So that brings in another perspective that we can just joke around and have fun, and we can be open to everyone.
Let's talk about Daytona a little bit first. You've won there before in Mini. You've won here now in KA 100 Senior. Are you like if Randy's Mr. Daytona on the big tracks, are you trying to become Mr. Daytona on the sprint tracks or what?
I'm just trying to be myself, you know, trying to go for as many as I can. I've got 6 so far.
Wow.
And everyone was saying how I was so fast. I was just staying calm, collective, trying to save the tires the whole weekend because those tires are really soft. Everyone was kind of like, they didn't know what to do. And I was just being smooth. Like David says, be smooth with the wheel, try to be as critique as you can. Don't mess up. So that's the main goal that I was doing.
Did you roll right off the trailer really fast?
Talking about this, the first 2 sessions, we were really struggling, and it was because we had the old race tires from last year. Okay. We saved those, so the oil was out of them. We didn't bake them or anything, so they were still stone. And we went out there, and whatever the kart did was not what you want it to do. So it would do the opposite of everything we wanted, but once we stuck on new tires, we were 3/10 clear of the field.
Put the good rubber on, and she comes to life, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the unique thing about Daytona. It's almost like a street race because that racetrack never gets used except for Kart Week. So it doesn't get used. It gets abused. Kind of does. You know, right. Every other race event you go to, you go out on sticker tires, even though there's rubber on the racetrack. Why would you not start out Daytona with sticker tires to begin practice? That just, I understand budget wise things, but you would think Mike Doty and Brandon Jarscrack would be like, hey, we'll give you a couple fronts and we'll give you a couple rears just to get this bar set.
Do you really think that, or do you think, hey, little kid, get your ass out?
No, like Rob was saying. I mean, yeah, David. Sorry, David. He was saying like it's a track that nobody goes to, and we just wanted to make sure that all the stuff was running. So we didn't want to go out on new tires right away. We just wanted to make sure that everything was put together right, that nothing would go wrong. And once we knew it was going well, we put on the new sticker tires and went from there.
So kind of like what Jorge does.
Yes. Yes. That's what he does. Right. Yeah.
So obviously, you know, when you jumped out of Mini, you kind of focused first on the KA 100 class, right? You didn't run the X30 class. You were focusing right there on KA 100. So you've been running this engine package for quite a while. You move up to senior, and you had good season last year. Look forward to see what you can do this year. We'll talk more about that later. But do you feel like you have a really good handle on what it takes to win in that class?
Yeah, well, the reason I moved up from juniors was I didn't like how the racecraft was. Everyone was really crazy. And when I moved up to senior, everyone knows what they're doing. And it's more relaxed, honestly, because you actually have to play your cards correctly, and everyone else is like the same way. So you just got to play it right. But it's been going good so far.
One cool thing that happened last year, I'll look down so I say it correctly, but you won the Trackhouse Karting Career Advancement Award. That's out. You know, when they reached out to us to let us know about it and kind of fill us in, and then we found out who was going to win it, we're like, yeah, that's a great pick. How first of all, how was that? You got a chance to run an MX5 Cup car, I think it was. What was that like? And first, what was it like when you got awarded that honor?
Well, when they first started talking about it, I was really interested. I really didn't think that I was going to get it. So when my name was called, I was really surprised. And that was the closest I've ever been to Kevin Harvick, actually. So that's actually really cool, knowing somebody that's super big in the sport and you're standing right next to him. You're like, holy cow, what's going on right now? And then when we went to the track, we were in Georgia. We went to Roebling. It was a really cool experience. Everyone was really cool. They were all really inviting, so it felt like home. It was really fun.
A great team as well. McCumbee McAleer has been around for quite a while. They know their stuff when it comes to that engine.
Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. So that begs the question, what happens for 2023? First, I'm assuming you're going to be focusing on karting. Is there a thought of trying to, did you turn anybody's head to potentially do some car racing this year?
Well, we're just going to stick to karting right now. If we get car opportunities, we'll talk about that. But so far, we're just focused on the karting, trying to get those car rides. But we're going to be doing the USPKS series, all of that. We might hit up a few SCUSA races like in Newcastle, Indiana. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we're going to go to Vegas, end off the year there. But I really want to start doing some of the Stars races. That series has been coming up a lot, so I want to try doing that.
And their KA program is pretty big.
Yeah, that's one of their biggest classes there, so I think that would be a really fun one to go to.
What about it? I know every once in a while you jump into a vintage kart. Are we going to see a little bit of that this year too, maybe?
I'm hoping to. I know it's old, but that's one of the most fun times that I have in a go-kart. It's so fun being able to go back in time pretty much and seeing how this whole sport started.
And that's exactly that. Now, this whole show is, of course, about Daytona. You've won 6 times there, as you said. Is that a race that really means a lot to you now to be able to go down to KartWeek? There's not a lot of drivers go to it, but there are some great drivers that do go every year. They make it, they make it a day of it. The bailiffs are down there every year. They make a whole family run of it. How important is Daytona to you?
It's really important. We always make a family trip out of it. That's kind of like our Christmas. We always go down there, and it's really cool. Kind of like what Jorge was saying, how it's one of the biggest pinnacles of motorsports where all the greats have been there, and just being able to run inside the speedway and winning there just means a lot.
I'll say this. I got a chance to do it, of course, as a part of the IndyCar radio network. Then when we ran the Battle of the Brickyard, when you come under the tunnel at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway out in Indianapolis, you're just amazing, especially even when you're driving up, you see the pagoda. It's the same thing the first time I went to Daytona to cover a race. You see Daytona and then you're under the tunnel. That's like a bucket list thing, I think, for any karter to be able to come up under the tunnel and be inside Daytona.
Yeah, that's probably one of the coolest things, and you aren't even at the best part yet. It's like a great entrance.
Yeah,
that's one of the coolest things about it. So you can see all the different stuff that's been there and everything. It's a really cool experience.
So another full year with Mike Doty?
Yes, that's the team that we're going to stick with. He's so cool. They do an awesome job. We like him a lot.
Make sure you get that thick skin, right?
Right, yeah.
If you make a mistake, you're going to know about it. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. He jokes about it, though, so it's not super painful. He always makes a joke out of everything, so we can kind of pass by, but we also have to take into consideration what we got to do next time.
That's it, man. We're big Mike Doty fans. I had a chance to watch him back when he was running Formula Y back in the late 90s, so definitely a fantastic team owner and a great coach as well. David, anything to wrap up here with Christian?
No, I was going to get into that because you ran with Kart Sport North America for a while with Brandon Jarzakrak, and then Brandon and Mike Doty got together. Did that help with the introduction to the Mike Doty camp, knowing Brandon?
Because when Eric stopped his race team, we went with Race for those 2 races, and after that, we didn't know what we were going to do. And then Brandon reached out to us and said Mike really wanted us. If that wouldn't have happened, we probably wouldn't be racing nationally right now.
And how hard was the transition from the Praga and Kart Republic to the OTK brand? Was it a little bit of a hurdle, or just getting used to what the kart needed and what you needed to do with it?
There really wasn't any adjustment, really. I hopped right in the kart and we took off. The kart was really great. The only thing that I had to get used to was let the kart do the work. I couldn't be too hard on it, and I had to slow down my hands a lot because the first time I went out on the track, I turned the kart in a tight hairpin, and I'd be turning in early, going on the inside of the track in the grass. So I had to adjust that a little bit, but that's all it really was.
First time I've ever raced and drove an OTK was the Cosmic at the Super Nationals.
Yeah.
I did not have slow hands. Let's put it that way. And then Ben Cooper was beating on me to kind of slow my hands down.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things. They were still smooth, but like you can't be super aggressive with it, like you said. But luckily you didn't do it, or that would have been a barrier.
That's exactly that.
Yeah,
exactly. Thank God I stayed out of the barriers. But listen, Christian, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on wins 5 and 6 at Daytona. Very, very impressive. We look forward to seeing you again this year, running in that KA category. Any X30 racing for you this year potentially, or are you going to focus on KA?
No, I like the KA package. It's super close. all of the teams are always right there.
Yeah.
And it's such a big field. You normally get over like 60 entries per race. So I want to stick with that. I don't want to go down and race only 25 people. I like racing the biggest classes possible against the best competition.
Well, listen, we appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us here on Face to Face. Best of luck in 2023.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, David.
Yeah, thank you out.
Thank you, sir. There he is, folks. Christian Miles, one of the good ones, David. Very impressive to see what he's done over the last couple of years. He's going to be a guy to beat. Anytime he rolls out in that KA 100, he's going to be a guy to beat here in 23.
Yeah, because again, he didn't come into the senior ranks until midway through last season. So, and then came out, arms up and ready to go, and was competitive at USPKS. And yeah, so great to see him. He's going to be obviously a focal point. We had Jeremy Fletcher, like the top rookie in 2022. Essentially, he's going to be a rookie next year for a full season, but he's kind of going to fall into that Fletcher position where he'll be the young gun that everybody's kind of going to be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I would throw Caleb Gaffera in there as well. I think him and Christian are going to be pretty impressive seniors this year.
Yeah, depending on what class Caleb runs. That's the we don't know.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, we'll see.
He hasn't quite announced what he's doing yet.
So. Great way to start off the new season for here Face to Face. 4 fantastic drivers, great personalities as well. It was awesome to have them with us here. Jorge's on the racetrack right now, by the way. We should probably look to see how he's doing.
He probably is practicing right now.
He was not very happy in the studio about how he was going to be in practice, but he's got to put those fresh tires on. He's going to be good. Again, one of the great stories, one of the great characters, and now
waiting for data.
Waiting for data. One of the great content creators right now. Look at Jam Racing, as we said, on YouTube. They put a lot of great stuff out. They had the camera working throughout the CKNA Grand Nationals. So really just, I love it because I love to see him get into the sport, loving the sport. David, we talk all about the sport is what you make of it, right? And Jorge and his brother are absolutely loving it. So again, great start to the season here in 2023, our first face-to-face of the new year. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in. Big thank you to everybody who joined us today. Jorge Ruiz, Matthew Frost, Evan Stamer, and, of course, Christian Miles, who waited to the end of the broadcast. David, great way to start the season. It's Friday night. Dude, it's time for you to go watch some basketball.
Yeah, Friday night lights for basketball. And the Masters are on track right now. So if you hook on to Race Monitor right now, you can see how terrible Jorge is with his old tires.
Ooh, ouch, ouch. Folks, again, thank you so much. This was a wrap-up of the WKA KartWeek event on the sprint track at the Daytona International Speedway Manufacturers Cup. 4 winners joining us here on the EKN YouTube channel. Lots more content coming here for YouTube in 2023. One of our primary focuses on a lot of onboards as well. We're going to set this deal up so that if you want to find an onboard of a track you're going to, you're going to be able to see it here on the EKN YouTube channel. We do appreciate, again, the guys joining us. David, have a great weekend. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in, folks. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.